it's Lacey Sculls from VH1's Rock of Love, and this is Talk of Love, the new podcast. This isn't just reality, this is real life. Hey everyone, it's Lacey motherfucking Sculls, and this is Talk of Love, episode 29. So I'm really excited today because I actually have a live, living, breathing, in the flesh human being here with me today. So you guys know that I'm a big fan of all of the Flavor of Love shows, and one of my favorite characters was, you guys know her as Bootz, but Larissa Hodge, she was on Flavor of Love season 2. She was also on Charm School with Monique. Larissa, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm like, yay. Oops. I'm like, yay, an actual human being.
Yeah.
I only found out recently that you live here in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
And when did you move here?
Maybe like 5 years ago.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I gotta say, I did Rock of Love and Charm School with Sharon Osbourne, but I was such a big fan of Flavor Flav anyway, because I loved Public Enemy and I loved, the whole music that he's involved with, like totally up my alley. But, and I was addicted to like Surreal Life and all of that, but I really loved Flavor Flav as an artist and as a musician and also just as a personality, Mm-hmm. And so when I started watching Flavor of Love, I really just was so entertained by the characters, and you were definitely one of the standout characters for me. And I loved watching you on the shows, and I know that a lot of fans were like super stoked to see you on the podcast as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm like really excited about this today.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So what got you into reality television? Did you start doing TV with these shows, or did you do television prior?
I had no television experience. I knew nothing about television at that time. I actually met a recruiter that thought I was cute, and she said, "Oh, we're casting," and I actually was watching season 1, so it wasn't over. And at that time, these are like one of the first big shows. So for me, I was like, well, isn't the show still going on? They're like, oh, we're doing season 2. And she gave me her card, and she was like, just go to this address and audition. Like, you're cute. Just act like you like Flav. And so I was like, okay. So I just go, not thinking anything was going to happen with it. Because, everybody in Hollywood says you're going to be somebody or whatever. So I kind of was like, let me just go for fun. And at that time, I actually owned my own business. I was doing hair. I had my license out of high school, like a year after high school. I've had my license for hair in California. So I already had money, already doing my own thing, but that was just something extra just in case it did come along. But I was actually shocked when they called me back because I thought it was just crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was totally crazy. It's funny because for me, I was doing music prior, and I got invited to do Rock of Love, and I was like, I don't really know if that's the direction I want to go, but ultimately the reason I decided to do it is because I'm like, this is just an insane life experience, and who gets offered to do something like this?
Right.
Like how often does an opportunity like that it sounds to me like it just kind of fell into your lap, which is how it did with me as well. So
right.
That's amazing. So when you found out that you got it, what did your family say? What did your friends say?
My family did not like that.
Yeah?
But I didn't care. Because I was like, but really to tell you the truth, I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to do it now. Because I did not think, I just thought, I'm going to try out, go home, still own my business, do what I do. Never did I think I didn't even think like, am I going to do it or not? You know what I mean? Because I never thought that far. So.
Right. You just thought as far ahead as like the audition phase. Like, sure, I'll audition. That sounds like fun. And then like, oh, wait, I actually got it. And I have to make a real decision.
Right. And I was scared because I was like, there was stuff in bold print in the contracts I did not like. And I'm like, wait a minute. And it was just, I'll just tell you guys what it said. It said in bold, if you get anything, you cannot sue us. They're talking about sexually transmitted diseases. So I'm like, why would they put that in bold? And so it took me a while to like make my mind up because I kind of was like, well, what is everybody on? Like,
yeah.
Because why would you put that in bold out of everything in that contract? So I ended up making my mind up only because we all got tested. And I just told myself, I just know the only person that didn't, well, I don't know if he did, but I'm thinking, why would you put that in there?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I knew like, okay, I'm going to just have fun with the show. But other than that, I'm not doing anything. I'm saying beyond that.
Yeah, they almost make it like you're getting ready to like walk into like a giant orgy or something. I'm like, what are we walking into exactly?
Right.
Because I remember I got tested too. And the funny thing was, I remember we started out with more girls than we needed because we were like already anticipating that some girls are not going to pass the STD test.
Right.
So you're seeing all these girls in the hotel and then we get tested and we're like, oh, some of them didn't make it to the show.
Oh, they probably rushed you guys. Yeah. Because with us, I think because it was only that show, they had so much time because they tested us and called me maybe a month later. So it seemed like they had like a month and they tested everybody first, then called you back. So yeah, they waited and brought those girls?
Yeah, I don't remember what that situation was all about. Maybe they didn't want us to like have a test where we were negative for anything and then we like have sex with a bunch of people and end up with something like maybe they wanted to close the window. So I don't know.
I was thinking that too. Like, how did they even know somebody after the test? Because like I said, we tested maybe a month or two before.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was funny because after the show, like, I feel like this phase of fans, like because all these shows are being re-aired on like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that, I feel like we have like a new batch of fans who are younger. And I feel like the younger fans are a lot more kind to all of us than the original fans who were pretty brutal. At least for the Rock of Love girls, I remember we got like seriously slut shamed. And one of the things that kept being said was that we all had STDs. And I wanted to be like, I got tested. We don't have STDs. Like,
right.
That was like the one thing that like all the internet trolls love to say about us.
Really? See, yeah, when you guys came out, I think more internet was in play because when we were on, it was MySpace.
Yeah, I actually was there for the MySpace days too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, gosh, that was like a long time ago.
I wish it was Instagram because you guys would have seen so much that I know about our cast, things that's happened at parties, at like the executive parties. Like, I wish Instagram wasn't the play. There was so much that happened with me, so much with the other girls that no one even knows about.
Wow, well, thank God for this podcast. You've come to the right place, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm like, I wish it was Instagram. Like, yeah. I'm like, people that are on TV now don't understand. They get to speak their own voice. We didn't get to do that. Like, we didn't have, like now on VH1, I guess they get them to talk about the show. I wish we could have watched the show and talked about how we felt.
Yeah.
Like things like that.
Yeah. So one thing on this podcast, I have to say, I actually really do like the producers for Rock of Love. And I think that we shared a lot of the same producers. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not ever knocking the producers, but my running joke I like to say about them is that the producers were the true villains of the show. And so I like to talk about them a lot on the podcast. And in fact, I'm actually going to have a couple of them on here as my guests in the future, which will be really fun. But I do like to share with everybody stories about the producers and how much influence they had on the shows. Because I always tell people, like, people want to know, like, was it scripted? Did it really happen that way? And for the most part, my perspective is, for the most part, it did really happen the way that you see it. It wasn't scripted in that we didn't have lines that we memorized and that sort of thing, or we weren't told specifically to act a certain way, say a certain thing. However, the producers, at least on my shows, they definitely were like pulling the strings and they would like influence the girls to like, oh, you should say this, or did you know she's saying that about you behind your back? Like they would definitely intervene it for sure. And they definitely wanted to like push a certain storyline. Mm-hmm. And with the editing, which was a different process after the fact, they did change around some of the editing on the shows, but most of it was pretty much how it happened.
Right.
So what is your take on how you were portrayed and how you were edited? Did you feel like they stayed true to how things were on your show, or did they have some influence?
I can agree with what you're saying when you say the influence, but I think with people like me, they've never told me to say anything, but I think it's because I didn't have to. So I think, but I do know they were doing that with other girls, but that's because they needed a push.
Right.
Because they were just sitting around the house. So it's like, okay, you guys need to like do something, So I can see them doing that with other girls because like with me and Laylene, I already knew that was a setup because she's so weak in my eyes. Like, you came out the blue. That's not even in your character to approach, especially someone like me. And then I saw the producer across the room. That's what people don't get. The music was so loud. He's yelling for me not to hit her because he knew I was so mad because I'm just sitting there like, I just didn't like that situation, but we'll get back to that.
Yes.
But I just feel like when it came to the producers, maybe with the other girls, it was more, but I agree with you. I think it was basically based on what happened. I think that more so the fans would make up things about how I was. I don't think it necessarily was the producers. I think that they just edited it the best way they could for us. But I think once they got to you guys, they kind of had their niche for that.
Yeah.
I think with us, we were kind of like the guinea pigs. Like, let's see, they were playing around with it and it just blew up. But I don't think it was like a made up thing. Like now I can tell these reality shows are completely made up.
Yeah.
How are you meeting at the same locations? Those are really like, okay, you guys, this is made up. But with us, it was literally like you said, it happened. They just aired it. I think that the fans would just see who they like the most and make up whatever story.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. And so one thing I really liked about your personality and would you say that could I call you a character, or would you consider yourself a character on the show, or was that
maybe
you
like
and your
personality?
Yeah. So what I liked about your personality is that you came across as very strong and very vocal, very opinionated, and you would just speak your mind. You were just very direct and very honest, but you kept your cool together a lot. You kept it together a lot in multiple situations in both Flavor of Love and in Charm School. There was moments where I'm like, she's gonna snap. She's like, because I'm like, if I was in that situation, I'd be snapping. And you really like kept it together a lot of times and really kept your composure. And I was really impressed with that because you could still see how like there was this, hurricane inside of you, and at times you definitely would like let it out, but other times you really kept it together, which was impressive, particularly one thing I'm thinking of, with New York, there were several instances where, she was such an instigator and she loved to push people's buttons. And then you're just like, I'm just not going to let you get to me. And in many situations, I thought it was pretty great. So did you have to like really kind of find like a Zen place within yourself to manage that?
With New York, I probably was laughing inside because I knew she wasn't about that life. I am. So I kind of felt like, I know you're here because of the character she is. I know in real life she's not like that. So in my head, I'm keeping my cool because I know, why am I going to even like go there when I know she's not going to do anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of kept my composure because I knew, well, it's not going to be a fair fight because she's not like me. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So that was my thought process. Like, she's just going to say a couple things, whatever they tell her to say, and run with it. Now, on Charm School, I actually was pissed off because with the whole debate with Monique, I was trying to do the best I could without cussing out certain girls that I thought I was cool with on that scene. And then right after that is when New York, remember they surprised us with New York on Charm School.
Right, yes.
So to this day, I kind of regret not flipping out because I felt like I didn't like how I looked in that scene. I kind of looked like, you just didn't say anything. And I don't like that look.
I know what you mean.
But I didn't say it because I felt like I could possibly win. But then once everything started happening after that scene, I just was like, nah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Because I actually left, but they played it. That's one thing I can say.
Oh.
I left and they made us do a scene where Monique was saying you're, whatever they say when they give you your pen. I forgot what she said.
Oh, expelled?
Yeah, you're expelled or whatever she said. I actually told them, nah, I'm ready to go home. They were like, and Monique even said, well, you're not the one going home.
Huh.
And I said, well, I really don't care. Because I felt like at that point, you guys are using our real names. You're not using the character names on Flavor of Love. And now I'm feeling disrespected. She didn't know anything about us. None of the girls really, unless they hung out with us outside the show. So I kind of felt like Monique was on there doing worse than the other girls. Like, how are you on Charm School, but you trying to attack the girls and you're the host? Right. You know what I mean? Like on the reunion. And that's never going to fly with me, like, ever.
Nor should it. I got to say, I wasn't super familiar with Monique as an entertainer before the show anyway, but I was open-minded to her watching you guys' show. And I was really kind of put off by her as well because I just thought that she had this sort of holier than thou attitude. And to compare her to Sharon Osbourne, who was on my season of Charm School, Sharon is a really tough woman. And I actually don't really get intimidated by very many people in the world, but I definitely was a little intimidated by Sharon. But Sharon was cool because she had this like motherly warmth to her that was very authentic. And she also was just a strong personality. And I just feel like she was herself. But I mean, Sharon has like such a unique background. I mean, she literally like helped make Ozzy Osbourne's career. And she had to deal with so much shit in her career. So she kind of learned how to naturally be a leader. But with Monique, for me, it just came across as a little bit forced. And I felt like she was condescending and disrespectful to a lot of you girls, because Sharon would like put us in our place. And like, you know, Sharon was just very direct, and just her directness was like, oh, like I'm not gonna mess with you. And she didn't have to do anything beyond just be direct. Monique to me had a holier than thou attitude. And Monique, she thought that I got the vibe that she almost wanted you guys to be submissive to her. And so I actually was bothered watching her and how she treated you guys, and especially her treatment of you, because there is some elements of your personality that do remind me of myself, and that you're very strong-willed and you stand up for yourself and you respect others, and so you expect respect back. And so I appreciate that in you. So watching her kind of belittle you and talk down to you, and she kept calling you a little girl. I mean, you're a grown-ass woman. You know, she's a grown-ass woman, you're a grown-ass, so there are no little girls here. And it just was a little too harsh, and it just made her come across as arrogant to me.
And it wasn't called for either. I could see if I called her fat or called her name, and then she's like, oh, okay, well, let me say this to her, or like you said, put them in their place. From the very beginning, I was told by the producers this was going to be, because, you know, Baby Fat was popping back then before she Kimora relaunched it now. And they told me literally, it's going to be like The Apprentice. I had no clue this was Charm School. They told me, you're going to, and I said, Apprentice how? They were like, Kimora Lee Simmons is the host, and you guys can really work for her company, so you guys are fighting to be in her company of Baby Fat. So I'm like, wait a minute. So of course I signed, but that was them to get me to sign.
That's insane.
And so when I got there, literally our facial expressions are like that. And I had an attitude, because the first thing out of Monique's mouth when we're standing in the very first episode and she comes out, first of all, I didn't know it was going to be her, number one. I actually was a fan of hers and her comedy and stuff. I thought she was funny. But I was shocked that she wasn't as real as I thought she would be. And usually you hear someone out. I would think she would have heard someone out. Any of us girls at least try to talk to us. You never talk to us, but you're going to call me a little girl, you're going to do this, and then expect somebody to not say something. Like you said, we're all grown to be on the show. You have to be 21. I may not be 40 years old like she was, but you know what I mean? Like, I own my own business. She probably didn't own her own business at the same age I did. So she can never I just didn't even like you said, how she came across was really like confrontational, and she expected like us to bow down. And I just felt like, how in your right mind, it's okay, did you ever think that I would, or any of the girls? I think that some of the other girls were okay with it because I guess they felt like the mentality of their elders. But for me, elders does not mean age.
Yes, that's a good point.
So I kind of thought of things differently, and none of those girls really knew me like that. So I think that that's why most of the tasks that we did, like Hottie, how she was like, when she got kicked out, she was like, oh, Larissa's not smart enough, not even knowing I was the reason you got kicked out. You know what I mean? So none of them really knew like what I did before or anything. They just, I guess, guessed or made up whatever they thought based on my attitude.
Well, they
saw.
Underestimated you.
Right. And I was just like, I really hated Charm School. I really hated it.
It looks like you did. And I remember when you looked like you had a great time on Flavor of Love, and you looked like Charm School like completely sucked for you. So, the thing that where I really felt for you was, I think it was after the debate, you were seated at a table and she was just really laying into you. And that was the whole thing. I felt like she had targeted you. Like, I almost feel like you reminded her of like the girl that like her man cheated on her with or something like I couldn't figure out why she just like had this vendetta against you. And so I remember at one point I was watching you and I was really like watching your expressions, and she was just really going off on you, and you were like, why are you always going off on me? Why are you picking on me is basically what you were saying. And you were like, you know, even when I do a good job and I present myself well and I do all the things that you're telling me to do and I do them, you don't even, A, you don't even give me credit, and B, you're still coming after me, giving me a hard time. And in fact, there's other girls over here that are like doing things worse and you're giving them a free pass and coming at me. And I remember when she was just, she goes into like her rants and it's like, I can tell she thinks she's doing tough love, but really she's just being an asshole. And I felt like you looked to me like you were almost about the point of tears, but not because you were sad or hurt, but because you were just pissed and you were so angry. I felt like you couldn't do anything about it. You just had to like sit there and take it. And she was wrong and you knew it, but you still had to sit there and take it. And I felt like I almost saw you at the point of tears.
I think I was frustrated and felt set up.
Yeah.
I felt set up. I felt like you said, there's nothing that I can do. Why are we here? I felt like it was a waste of time, basically. Right. And like you said, I did feel targeted, didn't know why. And I was trying to give the true me, which is like the emotional side. And I'm a Scorpio. We don't show emotions to people that we don't trust.
Right.
So I gave that to see if that would get her more of like a clear understanding of her doing wrong, you know? But she, like you said, it wouldn't do anything. And I felt like she's more of like a dysfunctional family. Like you said, the tough love thing. I'm not your family. I don't even know that you don't love us. So that didn't come off right. But it's like a dysfunctional, toxic thing she was doing.
Yes.
You know, and I just felt like that, this is not. I just felt like, where are we going with this? With Sharon and all the other people, I felt like everything was logical.
Yes. Yeah.
This wasn't logical. Like you said, there's nothing logical about it. She couldn't really explain, like you said, why are you doing these things? And I think the only thing she said was, oh, you remind me of myself. Well, that's dysfunctional because I heard you talk about your family and things. I ain't going to say what she talks about because that's personal, but people can go look at her interviews and things she's been through. But I feel like I'm not you. I didn't go through those things in my life. So you don't even know me, you know? Like, so maybe she meant my attitude, but I kind of feel like you said, maybe she saw something like, oh, somebody she didn't like or the girl she wanted to be.
Yes, that very much could be
You
as
know
well.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Something. Because it had to be.
Felt like she wanted to break your spirit. That was like the overall feeling I got. And that is not creating an environment of which positive change could happen. That's only going to create an environment of resistance.
Right.
You know? And so I really felt for you in that. And like for me, the way I survived charm school is I just pretty much decided I wasn't going to win. So I'm just going to be like the prankster the whole entire time. And like that way I was able to not take anything personally, you know, because I'm like, I'm just going to make it as far as I can and just, you know, put on a fun, good show and not take things personally. And I'm probably not going to win anyway. So, you know, that was kind of like the way I played it. Yeah.
Especially with her doing that, I felt like I'm not going to win this.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not going to stand here. And that's what I said that they took out. When I was standing there and she asked me, well, why are you going home? I said, I'm going home because you're not going to attack me any further. You're not going to keep diminishing who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? You
Especially
have no clue who I am.
That's the other thing, too. To have somebody treat you like that and talk down to you like you're beneath them on TV.
That's a good word. That's the word.
Really bother me. That would really bother me. So I really felt for you in that. And that's why I keep going back to like, you really kept it together because I know you are a strong woman. I know what you're capable of. And you kept that together. You're like, this is not the time and place for that. So you totally could have handled it in a different way and you wouldn't have been wrong, you know?
Right.
But you chose not to. And then the reunion show in particular, she actually like stepped in your face.
She actually had her fist balled.
That is
so the way that, like, let's say
unreal.
I'm her, the audience was here and I'm sitting. She had this right hand ball, but see, you guys couldn't see because the cameras were over here. So that's why I got up.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, oh, we're about to fight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's go. But see, and that's why everybody was running. As you could see all the commotion with the cameras. They didn't know what was going on, but see, she lied. She said, oh, I told your mom to be here. You didn't even know my mom was sitting there.
To go to like
and you
the
could tell by her
mom,
facial expression. She didn't know.
To take it to your mom, that was the other thing too, because I know she did that with you. I know she did that with Shay as well. And like, why are you bringing up their mothers? Like, what? This is ridiculous, you know? And then, but your mom is such a badass. And that like just saved the day and because what was
and
really—
she got checked.
Oh man. And did you see how
her face?
She backed down? Not your mom, but
yeah, Monique did.
Monique backed down so freaking fast. And it was just so funny because that just goes to show that
she was picking.
Yeah, but also like this isn't real for her. Like she was basically like bullying you. And then if that was how she really felt, she would have been more direct with your mom. But she like, man, tail between the legs and everything, you know? So I thought your mom was like just so cool. But your mom also like handled it with class as well, you know? And I just thought that was like such an awesome mom move, you know?
Because I was pissed when she said, well, when are you going to whoop her? Or something she said. Like, so when are you going to whoop her ass or something?
Questioning your mother's skills.
And in my head, I said, I wanted to say so much, but I said, let me not say anything because I'm really going to go off. But before that, when she was coming out and I told her she was fake, I think they aired that part, but I was saying so much, they cut a lot out. I was telling Monique, people don't know, she got kicked off of a flight before that reunion.
Oh,
and
really?
You're a Charm School host talking about we need Charm School. I felt really betrayed by the producers at that point because I felt like we should have really had something of what the Bad Girls Club was, not Charm School.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, I think that would have been what the fans would want because then we're already in the house. I feel like they had so much fun, even though they would do dumb stuff. But I feel like that's more appropriate for us.
Yeah.
Not Charm School. I mean, it sounds funny or whatever, but like you said, Monique was so intense. It made it seem like, oh, yeah, they are this. Oh, yeah, she is a little girl. Oh, yeah, Monique's so serious. Those are for all the followers who don't have their own mindset. Because even with the Laylene thing, this is what I tell people that pisses me off. When you watch that, the people that are logical...
When her picture frame got hidden, is that what you're talking about?
No, when we got into it at the bar.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
How she walked up to me and the first thing she brought up was my mom. Does your mom think this? But then everybody...
Why is everybody bringing up moms? Like,
right.
That is such a
Everybody
such a cheap
tried to get on me for saying... her kids. Well, are your kids happy you strip on a pole? But that's the same thing she did. I just didn't have any kids at the time. So you're going to talk about my mom, I'm going to talk about your kids. But I really wasn't talking about them. I brought it up at the same question you asked me, I asked you. But people online and a lot of people will say things like, oh yeah, she was a bully. How was I a bully? No, she tried to bully me and didn't succeed in that.
Right.
So don't get mad at me because I'm more powerful. She brought a freaking grenade. I brought a rocket launcher. Don't be mad because I'm more powerful than you. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew the producers told her to do that. And I'm surprised she had the balls to do it. That's why at first you see me, Pumpkin, and I think it was Hottie or somebody taking pictures. I think you could see us taking pictures with some people in the bar, and then she approaches me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and you see my face like I'm kind of laughing because we're drunk. Because I'm laughing because I know Laylene's so weak, and I knew it was a setup because I saw the producer in the corner. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, what do you want? Right, like, so let's get this over with. And like, just the way she did it, I don't think she was expecting the comebacks. Well, she wasn't ready.
You don't poke the beast with a stick.
Right.
Unless you want to get bitten. So like that's just what's going to happen. I mean, I went through a similar thing with Dallas. Like I gave Dallas a really hard time, but the reason that even started is because Dallas started antagonizing me first. Dallas wasn't even on my radar at first.
Right.
But she came up and she started antagonizing me about my beliefs in animal rights. And so, and that's something that's like personal for me that I care about, that I'm passionate about. So I was like, oh, you just did the wrong thing, bitch. You know? And so, and it's like, I'm sorry, like you did antagonize me first. I'm just better at it than you are at that going head to head, you know? So, and it's not my fault. I crushed you with this, you know?
Did they call you a bully?
Yes.
See, and if they look up the definition, it's like they tried to be bullies and just didn't succeed. Don't be mad at us because we're successful in defending ourselves. And they ran with their tail between their legs. Because Laylene, I was laughing because I couldn't believe she got that mad. And so it just made me laugh because it's like, I was so tipsy. I don't even remember what happened the next day. And we're just laughing, but I knew I checked her, but I don't know what I said. But I was just mad, like, don't ever talk about my mom. Like, you could say whatever you want to do. Don't talk about my family. Don't talk about, because like I said, we don't even know each other.
Right.
And then with the picture thing, people are like, oh, you stole. I didn't steal shit. It's a tactic. Because if people remember, Hottie hid Crazy's dress.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm thinking, oh, this is a season 1 against season 2. Even though I wasn't friends with Crazy, I felt that way. Like, we need to all have our backs in season 2, and because they're having each other's back in season 1.
That's very valid. And I had Hottie on here actually a few weeks ago, and she admitted that she was the prankster. You know, she was very open about that she liked to prank people and just kind of get everybody all riled up and that sort of thing. So I feel like that is just kind of, you guys just did it back to her.
Right.
So,
but I feel like people say I'm a thief or this and that, and I laugh at that because I'm like, you guys are so dumb. A thief keeps stuff. There's nothing to keep the picture of her mother. And then what pissed me off at the reunion too that really made me mad with the producers is the fact that they sat there and was like, oh, do you think you owe Laylee an apology? I don't feel like I owe her an apology. But when I found out her mother died, I only apologized because I didn't know her mother died. I don't even know you. And she knew that. So what pissed me off is you tried to play this narrative and she owed me an apology for acting as if I knew. Yeah. She knew I didn't know that girl. And it don't matter to me because at the end of the day, you know I don't know you. You don't know me. It had nothing to do with your mother. Mm-hmm. It had to do with you finding something and blaming it on Hottie. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with your mother. So she tried to twist it because I feel like really Layleen was threatened because she really wanted to win so bad, but she didn't have the balls and the, I guess, strength to do it. She was too weak. All the other girls would have devoured her. Mm-hmm. And she knew that. So I think that she just wanted me to look like the villain so bad. Oh, let me make it look like she knew my mom died. Let me make it look like this. And that's one thing I didn't like about the reunion. But because me and the other girl, Shay, was arguing back and forth, it was so hectic because this is the part that people don't get. When I was in the green room, they were like, oh yeah, we're ready. The show's about to start. I didn't know they had already did the show. Because remember, I came out, I'm thinking the show's starting. No, them girls were already out there doing the show the whole time without me. So for me to walk in, it was so much going on. First of all, you had me in the back. No one could hear me. So when Shay was talking, you could hear her more than you could hear me. So it sounded like she was devouring me, which that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. So I started yelling at them in the back because I'm like, why am I even back here? So it was so much going on. And they're like, oh, it's just because the safety of, the cast, because last reunion, how I ran back on New York. So I'm like, oh, so this is a setup. Like, this ain't fair. She can't even hear me. They can't hear me. She has the main mic. I'm going
That's not fair. Yeah,
they can't hear me because Lala was like, we can't hear her. But her mic is so much louder. You get what I'm saying? It's devouring my voice. And I got pissed. Yeah. Like, you're not going to make me look crazy. Yeah. So I told them, I'm going to leave unless you put me on the stage. Because they weren't trying to put me on there. I said, let me tell you something. I said, as long as nobody touches me, I don't have a reason to jump on nobody. I said, New York, there was a reason to jump on her at that reunion. Yeah. But I said, they were like, well, that's why we have security. I said, well, you need to let me say what I need to say. It's not fair. Everybody else, at least let me be on the stage without somebody if you feel like something's going to happen. But don't put me in the back where I'm walking. First of all, I'm walking in thinking we're all getting seated. They're already seated. I'm already pissed. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, something don't seem right. Then she starts going off. So I'm really pissed. Like, oh, they trying to set it up like everybody got the upper hand. Then Layleen said something. And then I think Like That said something in the background. I'm like, where does she come from? So people got to realize, like, once whatever I walked in on, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
You sort of got blindsided.
Right.
Yeah.
On everything. Yeah. Because Like That was saying something about, oh, you did this. I don't give a F what you talking about. Because it's like I couldn't get everybody the way I wanted to get them because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I did say things here and there, but like I said, they didn't hear everything.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Their mic was messed up in the back because it wasn't like the space for mics and all that where I was. I'm like, you guys didn't set this up right. We were arguing for a while. And then they finally said, no, just let her go because we don't want her to leave. They let her go on the stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I told them I will leave because this is unfair. It's like, what's going on? Yeah. And all I see is a screen of Shay on the stage. And then I'm like, so then I'm thinking, okay, she didn't win the show. What's going on? Oh, you guys want us to argue? Oh, you this. They didn't tell me anything.
Wow, they're sneaky.
Yeah, but, I'm with all of that. But I didn't like how they were talking and I didn't get to hear. At least let me watch and agree. When you guys acted like I was coming in at the beginning, I don't know what they said before this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I had no clue what the whole reunion was about. Because remember, that was the end of the reunion when I came out.
Yeah, so you were kind of walking into the dark. You had like no idea.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that completely makes sense to me. And that's like, it's such an unfair situation, you know? And I know they love to do that, just kind of throw roadblocks and spike strips out, you know, at us, you know, just to make it more interesting, I guess, for them and for the audience. But yeah, it's hard to navigate when the producers do things like that. Absolutely. And back to the Laylene thing, I want to say one thing about the bar scene. And when I was watching that, I definitely feel, I mean, I like Laylene just based on what I've seen of her on the shows. I thought she was an interesting character. I did feel like she definitely like played the victim at times. And I felt like that whole moment, that was the situation where afterwards she was in the parking lot and she was just like going off on a tear, right? I felt like she got triggered. Like just, you know, like I understand like nobody wants to be called, I'm not, I don't have kids, but I would imagine nobody wants to be called a bad mother, you know? But I definitely feel like she got triggered, you know, because she took that so hard.
And you know, I never told her she was a bad mother. That's how I know she was triggered. I never said you were a bad mother. I said, how do your kids feel about you stripping on a pole, bitch? That's what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
And she said, girl, I'ma hit you. That's exactly what she said. So that was the wrong move because I was, like you said, I was handling it fine. We could talk all day and argue. But when she said she was going to hit me, Laylene, you're not going to hit me. You're going to be on this floor. And that's what I was screaming at her. Like, don't try me in this bar like you're so tough. That's what made me mad. And you know how you're tipsy, so you're going to be extra.
Of course.
So I was so tipsy. But I'm like, is Laylene really trying, like, talking about she going to hit me?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I feel like she pulled the wrong card and she wasn't ready. And like you said, she was triggered because I never said she was a bad mom. Now, maybe she felt like I insinuated it, but you insinuated that I wasn't a good daughter to my mother.
Right, exactly.
Like whatever I'm doing, when in actuality, what my point is, like I said, they don't know me. I have businesses at way younger age while she out here thotting and bopping. I'm over here owning businesses that she has no clue about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in my head, it's like, how dare you judge me on whatever you think I am, some ghetto black girl, I guess, not even having a clue that, you know, when they came to my house, they were all shocked that it was a mansion because I didn't tell them anything. So it's like they all had whatever, you know, preconceived notions of me. And I just felt like, Laylene, you have no clue who you're talking to. Like, have no clue. Like how I was raised or anything. You're just looking from the outside, you know, looking in. And I felt like, and you're a stripper with children and you're trying to judge me.
Yeah.
That's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Like if we want to start judging, well, let's go because I know you're a stripper and you have kids. That's all they knew about her.
Right.
So I threw it at her because all she knew is I had a mom, but she didn't know nothing. You know, I think she just said that to make me mad. But it ended up backfiring.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like if you're gonna dish it, you gotta take it.
Right.
You know, especially if you're gonna dish it to a very strong type personality, you know? So I totally get it. So let's go back to Flavor of Love a little bit. So you, as you said earlier, you had seen all of season 1, or at least what had aired at that point. And so you had like a little bit of an idea of what to expect. So did you like Flavor Flav, or did you like him just as a person? Did you like him romantically? Were you just gonna like feel it out and see what you thought? Or, you know, what were your thoughts on that?
For me, I like peculiar guys.
Yeah.
So a lot of people be like, oh, do you like him? Do you like him? But I tell people all the time, the people that ask me that are ugly, like the people who judge us, like in the streets, like, oh, he's ugly, he's this. But I look at, and I tell them all the time, I say, well, you're ugly to me. Like, I'll just say stuff because
good for you
my thing is, what if
that.
I do, like, half the rappers now have beautiful wives and girlfriends, and they don't say nothing because they have money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like, don't be dumb. I said, let's say I did like him, you know? But to answer the question, I went in with just expectations of having fun. And I think the producers did tell us, or Flav told us, but one of them, it was probably Flav, said, you know, he's not looking for a relationship. He just wants friendships, which was cool. So it was off camera, you know, or they probably just didn't air that. Of course, they're not going to air that part. So it's probably off camera, or they just edited it out. But so for me, I'm cool with that because I have a lot of friends in the industry. So it's like, you know, that would be a nice connect, a nice friend to have, you know what I'm saying, just as a friend. You know, so for me, that's how I looked at it. I just went with the flow, and whatever happened, happened. Me and Flav actually went bowling like a month ago.
Oh, really?
So
Because he lives here in Las Vegas. That's so awesome.
So we're really cool to this day. And like, I just feel like it's sad that people look at people from the outside on their looks and don't realize like they may not be attractive to us and they'll think we're rude if we say that to them.
Yeah, I will tell you that one of the questions I got asked the most with Bret Michaels is everybody was like, tell me about his hair. Is his hair real? Is his hair real? Is he going bald? And everybody was like so ready to jump on him for that shit. And I'm like, you know what? That is such a sexist thing to say and a double standard because we as women, it's totally acceptable to have weaves, to have extensions, to have our hairs dyed, to have fake boobs, fake lips, fake eyelashes, fake nails. Like that's totally acceptable. But for, you know, to be honest, I don't know what Bret Michaels' hair situation is. I think he's a good looking guy, but that's not really the point. I think he said in an interview somewhere that he has extensions or whatever, but I'm like, more power to him. Like, what should he do? Like shave his head and just try to rock the bald, you know, because he's losing some of his hair? Like, I think that regardless of your gender, you should do whatever you feel is necessary, especially we're not getting any younger, to do what makes us feel good. And he's a good looking dude. And he has this look of the blonde locks that he wants to keep. He wants to keep that look. And so I just always thought it was shitty that people were always want to rag on him and cut him down for like his hair or whatever, or with Flav with his looks, because I agree with you. Flavor Flav I love that man's personality. I love his personality. I think he's such a rad guy. He's such a unique person.
And people don't realize we don't meet a lot of real people in this industry at all.
That's true. Absolutely. You're totally right. So, and that happens all the time that women fall in love with guys that maybe not, a 10, or whatever, but have a great personality. Like that's actually quite normal. Men are usually the ones that are a little bit more visual and like to have a beautiful woman. Women are usually inclined to go for the guys that can make them laugh or have a great personality. Like that's pretty normal, So I just feel like that's haters being haters,
Yeah. And then, like I said, or they kind of overlook the looks when they see these young rappers who aren't cute. So they respect them and don't say that about them. But it's the same thing. Like, to me, almost all the rappers are ugly. Maybe there's probably a handful that are cute. Yeah. And they have beautiful wives and girlfriends, and nobody says anything. I wouldn't
even say it's exclusive to the hip hop scene. I would say rockers too, like all like these lead singers of bands and stuff. Same thing. Like I love Korn. Jonathan Davis is awesome. He is not Brad Pitt by any means, So he is not a good looking man, but he has beautiful women, and I think he's got a woman right now, and that's just how it is, But I'm sure he's got a great personality, and he's very talented, and he's successful. So that's just how it works. So yeah, I just think that's people, as I said, being haters,
Right.
So so when you had New York show up, that was, I'm assuming, a surprise
on Charm School or Flavor of Love?
On Flavor of Love.
Everybody thought it was going to be someone else. But I think I knew.
Yeah. And you never met her before, but you had seen her on the show.
Never met her.
So you're like, holy shit, basically.
I was smirking when she came. Everybody else was kind of like that. But I was smirking because I was like, oh, this is going to be a good show.
You're like, here we go.
Yeah, because I was ready.
Strap in.
I was ready.
I love it. I think that's so amazing. And I've met New York a couple of times, and I agree with you. I thought she was really sweet when I just met her literally in passing. But both times I met her, she was just very, very polite and humble, which was awesome. And I just really got a kick out of her on the shows. Like I thought she was so funny and entertaining. But I would imagine that if you are just seeing her for the first time and you don't know yet that that's just kind of an act, that's a character.
I always say I like Tiffany.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yes.
Because she is very sweet. I saw her after Charm School and she was trying to be nice. But like where I'm from, I don't think of it as a character. How you came at me, that's how it is, you know? So she was talking to me at the party, but I kind of was like listening, but I kind of wasn't. I was kind of off of her because I kind of was like, I don't even like how you tried to play me. That was my whole mindset. Like, I don't like it. But she was trying to explain like, she wanted the acting career. That's what she wanted to do. And like I said, I didn't do any acting or anything. So I'm just coming from where I'm from. I don't know you. I just know what you came with and I didn't like it. Right. So, but she was explaining to me and we ended up being cool and meeting at a couple of events. And I always speak to her to this day. I'm happy for her success.
Oh, that's nice of you. That's awesome. I got to say, one of the most amazing Bootz moments for me was at the reunion show for Flavor of Love. And that was just so insane to watch. Like all hell broke loose, like in slow motion though. And it started with Delicious, who by the way, I was on I Love Money 3 with her, which was the one that didn't air. I love Delicious. She's so great. I ended up becoming friends with her on that show. And I just thought she was amazing. But it was interesting because back to like the whole, like, I feel like the Yo Mama card keeps getting pulled on these things. And like, and like, you know, like I have admitted I was a total asshole and very like mischievous on all my shows. And I drove the other girls mad. But the one place that and they all wanted to murder me while I was sleeping. But the one, and I'm okay with it. But the one place I would never go is like to like rag on someone's mom, you know? And so when she did that, I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then watching Delicious, like she was just fuming sitting in her chair. And then it was just so crazy because I just remember watching that unfold and like she gets up and starts approaching the stage and then, you know, New York is still taunting and then like just one by one. Because she thought
security was going to hold her back.
Yeah. And then it was just like all of the girls at the same time. It was just so crazy because like the like not only all the security guys, but all the producers, like anybody was like all hands on deck.
They weren't ready.
And they were like grabbing everybody. And what was so amazing was I remember watching you go up at one point and they were trying to hold you back and then the camera like focused on someone else. And you did this like insane, like Jerry Rice, like wide receiver move where you just somehow like zigzagged your way like at 60 miles per hour past like 5 security guys that were like the size of refrigerators and made it to the backstage. I was like, oh my God, go Bootz, go, you can do it.
Because they were trying to kick us out.
Yeah.
So I knew once the lady had turned her head and they were trying to say, yeah, get Bootz, she was trying to hear what they were saying. So she was like, who, Bootz? And right then I just jetted off because I knew at that point they were like, oh, she's about to leave. They weren't paying attention. They didn't know I was about to go run back there. I said, oh, this is my perfect chance. Like, I'm going to go just run.
That was amazing. So how soon did you see New York outside of the shows after all of that? When was the first time you saw her outside of the shows?
I want to say maybe a couple weeks after that, because it was a Hollywood party. I think Flav was there. I think it was one of those little rinky-dink reality show award things, but it was before they got it together.
Okay.
So it was like at, I think this place, it was on Cahuenga somewhere in Hollywood, but it was one of those little small places where a club was, and I don't think they had it all put together. So it was kind of like an after party. Was it that day her and Pumpkin were kissing? I think it was when her and Pumpkin got that award.
I
think it was then.
Great. That was amazing. So was it when you saw her outside of that environment, was it immediately like, all right, we're just going to both put our swords down?
No.
Or no? So
I was just like,
you started this
why
out
are
by
you
saying,
talking to me?
Okay, yeah. You started this whole conversation out by saying some crazy stuff happened at those parties.
So many things happened. I wish Instagram, it would have been, but I kind of happy it didn't because there was a time at one of the executive parties where I got so wasted, I passed out on the floor. Sapphire, you know, that's my girl. Her and one of our gay friends had to carry me. I guess the producers gave her money for a cab to take me to her house. But she told me in the midst of that, I was on the floor laying there and everybody was just surrounding me.
Yeah.
And she said that Monique's people were trying to take pictures of me.
That is dirty. Are you serious? That is so low. Wow.
And so I didn't eat all day. And you know, we're young. Damn. It was open bar. So I didn't eat all day because it was supposed to be like a dinner and open bar.
Oh, girl, you don't have to explain to me. Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've ended up in the same exact position.
Yes. So I drunk way too much. Passed out, but Safari's my girl, so I don't know what she was doing, but she came in on wondering what everybody was looking at in a circle. It was me on the floor, and she claimed that Monique's people were trying to take pictures, and she told them, you take a fucking picture, I'm breaking your fucking phone.
Good for her.
And so that's when she got me and took me with our gay friend and took me to her house.
That's awesome. What a good friend. What a good friend. You know, I had Goldie on here about a month ago, and I remember everybody was like, oh, Monique, that's so cool, because she was saying that she was going to take Goldie out because Goldie was an aspiring comedian as well. And like, she just ghosted her, like totally ghosted her. And so I felt like Monique was like putting it out there of like, oh, I'm such a great person. I'm going to do this thing for Goldie. And like, I think Goldie is amazing. Like what person the world wouldn't want to, be Goldie's friend or like do something nice for her.
She is nice.
Yeah, she's a great woman. And so the fact that Monique just like didn't follow through with her promise, and I'm sure I would imagine. I mean, Goldie, she didn't really like go off on it too much because how she is. She's just like doesn't have a bad thing to say about anybody. But just my perspective was like, that's shitty. Like you don't get someone's hopes up, and get them
Monique
excited about something.
I feel like Monique is not a good person. People always feel like it has to do with the show, but there's more behind the scenes, like I tell people, so I'm going to say it here. There was a particular situation where my publicist told me there was a celebrity like spa day thing event, and I wanted to go, and she said, oh, we have a problem. I was like, what? So my publicist was like, yeah, Monique said if you go, she's not going. And
Get outta here.
Because
Wow.
Monique was a bigger, actress at the time, of course they're going to pick her. So I couldn't go to the event. So she basically blacklisted me, telling people if I go, this and that. And I tell people all the time, people ask me like now, like, what do you think about what's going on with her? I think that that's karma because you've been blacklisting people. It's not just me. There's people that she's done things to because she thought because she won that Oscar, oh, I'm on top. But no, because God will always stop all those blessings because you do people dirty for no reason.
Right.
No reason. Like you said, with Goldie, I heard that story that she was supposed to have her somewhere and didn't come through. Then you treat me like that on the show. Then for you to say, it wasn't even that serious for you to say, oh, if Larissa's there, I'm not going.
Right.
But since we're blacklisting, let's put it out there. That's why I don't really care what's going on with her.
Right.
I feel like this is what she deserves because this is what you do to people. So why shouldn't it happen to you except for it happened tenfold? Because she really thought, oh, I won this Oscar, I'm this and that. No, all those accolades that you got are gone. People are laughing at you. And what I tell people is crazy, and this is something that God does, is every single thing that happened on Charm School, if you think about it, what did they do? They were calling me a little girl. Whatever she called me, now she's the laughing stock. Mm-hmm. They were laughing at me, not listening to me. They're not listening to her now.
Right.
So everything she did to me is happening to her. No one's listening to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody.
Absolutely.
And then I've heard other actresses, A-list actresses, say she's done bad things to them.
Well, it only makes sense because if she treated you that way for seemingly no reason, and with Goldie's like, do her wrong, basically lie to her, get her hopes up. Mm-hmm. Of course,
use her like a lapdog, to, like you said, to make it seem like she was this nice person doing things.
Right.
Like promotion. Let me promote it and then not do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that to me, clearly, this is just a pattern. This is how she is. And I would easily believe that she does this to other people as well. But yeah, I definitely got the vibe. I mean, something deeper is going on. Like she felt threatened by you or something. It was just too weird to me. But unfortunately, we got to wrap this up because we're out of time. But before we go, I want to talk about all the amazing stuff that you've got going on in your life because I know you've got your hair that you're doing and you've got a line coming out. Is that right?
I have a hairline coming out. Indian hair. It's raw Indian hair. It's like literally no processed hair.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually the hair I wore on Flavor Love. People have asked me about. So I'm right now putting it together. I'm waiting for all of my names to be solidified. So I haven't said the name yet because of that. So I'll have it on my Instagram at Larissa the One. So everybody can, keep checking that out once I actually get my name solidified. Because I don't want nobody stealing my name.
Of course. Yeah, you got to do the whole, copyright, trademark, all
right, because people do so much crazy stuff on Instagram now.
Yeah.
I said this time I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just going to, get all the names solidified before I say anything.
That's smart. Very smart woman.
Right.
I love it. I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. And you look fantastic. And so, as you said, people can find you on Instagram as the best place. At
Larissa the One.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome back anytime. And now that I know that you live here, as soon as we're done with all of this crazy pandemic stuff, we should definitely go grab a drink or something like that.
We should.
Yeah. All right, girl. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
That was awesome. I'm so, so grateful that Larissa came in and sat down for an interview. She is amazing. And oh my God, that was just so eye-opening. I feel like we could have gone for 3 more hours. But anyway, so thank you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate your continued support in the podcast. And I have something new to offer you guys. So as you all know, every week I always talk about the contributors, but I actually have something for all of you who don't necessarily want to become a monthly contributor, but just want a one-time cool thing. So I keep talking about the reaction videos, and I actually just finished doing all of the reaction videos for the entire first season of Rock of Love, and I'm actually moving on to Charm School now. So the people who are monthly contributors, they get to see all those every week. But if you want the whole entire Rock of Love season, my reaction videos just in one lump sum, so you can do like your binge watching or whatever, but you don't have to be a monthly contributor, you can do that now. So for $25, which is about the same if you were gonna buy the DVD or whatever, but you get my commentary on everything, basically you're getting to watch Rock of Love with me. So for $25, if you go to the website, www.talkoflove.net/reaction videos, go there, and there you can place your order for the whole season, of which you will get my commentary as well. And you can pay with not only PayPal, but also Venmo and Cash App. So $25 one-time fee, and you'll get the whole season. So go check that out when you guys get a chance. And otherwise, if you like the podcast, please make sure to subscribe to the Talk of Love YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up, and be sure to share with your friends. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. You're awesome. Appreciate your support. And don't threaten me with a good time. Bye, guys.